Welcome to the court. This is Acker at Basketball.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Acker at Basketball podcast. I'm your co-host, Curtis D. Acker, alongside
the Mark Acker.
Yes, the one and only. And today we're going to be breaking down Season 3, Episode 9. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. We finally got to it. Going to wrap up the Florida teams for the off-season here. We're going to start off with Stetson, and as we do each week, we'll start off with the guys who have exhausted their eligibility. Starting off with Jordan Wood. So this was his only season at Stetson. Just over 12 points per game, just under 4 rebounds per contest, 45% from the field, 38% from beyond the arc. Also topped 25 points 5 times, including 25 in his final game, which was against Central Arkansas. Popped 7 of 11 from downtown there. Got a free Slurpee with that one. And then he also spent 3 years at Howard, and he was a part of the team that made the NCAA tournament as a 16 seed.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he really had a great year last year. Kind of quietly had a good year.
Yeah, strong season. Well, Stetson played, it seemed most of the season they played with 2 bigs, or at least that's how they started off the season last year, definitely. So for him to have to fill a 4 spot instead of a 5 spot was a step up in what he would have to do in the past, and I thought he played it flawlessly.
Yeah, he really did. Yep, exactly. So we'll move on. Next guy is Josh Massey. 2 years at Western Carolina, 2 years at Wingate, and then played his final season with the Stetson Hatters. 11.7 points, nearly 5 rebounds per game, shooting, how about this, 53% field goals, including 37 from deep.
Yeah.
So real nice shooter.
Really good numbers.
Yep. High game of 22 points against North Florida back in January. That was his season high last year. So yeah, again, a nice solid contributor to the Hatters offense. That they have.
Yeah, and that's consistent in what they're losing as well.
Yes, exactly.
You'll hear more about that as we continue on here. And continuing on, we got Trayton Thompson. So he's a 7-foot center that spent the past 2 seasons with the Hatters, following 2 at Minnesota. That's where he's from. And then he's started 26 of the 65 games that he played, averaged about 15 minutes per contest, 4.3 points, nearly 4 rebounds a game as well, so almost a 4-and-4. And then a really solid contributor shooting from the floor again, 52% field goal percentage over the past 2 seasons. Career best, 23 points at Bellarmine this past January.
Right, I thought Trayton really grew into the season and was a consistent contributor, not always offensively, but he got more playing time.
Yeah,
and really was making a difference on the floor.
Yeah, it was big to see that. Like they were rare. Stetson was rare last year in having big depth.
Yeah,
when most other teams did not. So that was a big highlight for their season last year.
Although that said, they were last in the league in rebound differential.
That's true as well. That's a very good point. Might be what they're improving on this offseason.
Maybe, right. Exactly. All right, so let's move on. So players that have left via transfer, we'll start with the one and only Mekhi Ellison, moving to Eastern Michigan. Spent last year, his only year with the Hatters, following a JUCO career at Mott Community College. But last year, averaged 14.6 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. 20 points, scoring 7 times during the season. Nice, consistent scorer, a season high of 25, but really that consistency was the thing that Mekhi brought to the floor from an offensive perspective. Of course, he did have that buzzer beater at EKU.
Yeah, that was an incredible shot, half quarter.
And contested, a little bit contested as well.
Made the news in Orlando. Yeah. Back when I was working in Orlando, our sports director thought it was worthy enough to be put on the air, and it certainly was. It was a crazy shot.
Exactly, right. Just want to mention too, back at Mott, he was their all-time leading scorer as a player, and here's a player that was able to make that big jump from JUCO to D1 and really be successful.
Yeah, I know that's been one of your big worries with the team, as mine as well, is just you don't know if these guys are going to be able to make the jump to that next speed level, because that's really what it seems like when you go up in level. It's just the game's faster.
Yeah.
So certain things work that, didn't work at maybe the lower levels, and you got to also drop some stuff that's no longer working because of the change of pace of game.
Right.
And Ellison was able to do it coming from not only a JUCO college, a JUCO D2 college,
right.
and then coming up and doing that in Division I basketball. So good luck to him as he plays in Eastern Michigan next year. A guy that's not even going to play in the NCAA next year, even though he entered the transfer portal, so he still got eligibility, is Abramo Senka. He's going to go play for Virtus next year, which is in Italy. That is actually where he is from as well. That's his home country. Now, he did play 26 games for the Hatters in his only season in DeLand here this past year. 8.7 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1 steal per game. Also had 14 blocked shots. He recorded a double-double against Mercer, a career-high 22 points against Oklahoma, SEC team, back in November. He also spent seasons at UCLA and Wake Forest prior to joining Stetson last year.
Yeah, good career. I mean, really, quietly. So.
And Senka had a double-double against Mercer. We got someone going to Mercer. Who's that?
That's Tristan Gross. Yeah, he's moving to Mercer. 2 seasons netted the guard. Tristan Gross, 59 games, 4.4 point average. Shot 36% from deep. Also contributed a couple rebounds per game. He did have 8 double-digit scoring games this past season, 18 against New College in the season opener last year, so he had a good start to the season. And then he started 12 of their first 13 games, but only 1 after that. He had gotten injured, from what I could tell. I believe he was injured, but then he only played one game after January last season, so kind of tailed off there. So hopefully a new opportunity for Tristan.
Right, had a good recovery off season. Now going to Mercer and looking to contribute there.
Right.
Another guy that's going over to Italy. This is Bramante. Is where he's going to. Stefano Alesso, so he's a 7-foot centerman, is an Argentinian/Italian. He did play 17 games with 4 starts in his freshman season with the Hatters. Had 11 points and 7 rebounds, also against New College, which is an NAIA school. Some games this past spring as well for Club Potosi in Bolivia, and then he played a season-high 14 minutes at Queens this past January, logging 7 points and 3 rebounds. So, kind of like a developmental depth piece that they're losing here, that showed some flashes and, obviously going over to the pros. Instead of taking the college route, we'll see where his future ends up.
Exactly. Right. Yep. Maybe a career over there in Europe.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to Blaise Sagnay. Sagnay will be moving to Southeast Missouri State this coming season. He's a guard. It's his 4th school in 4 seasons, so kind of one and moving on. So a breadth of information and from many coaches and different players from that perspective. 2.5 points, 2 rebounds, 1.3 assists in 18-minute averages last season. He had a highlight game, 11 point, 4 rebound, 3 steal effort, 2-point win at over Bellarmine. That game actually put the Hatters into the ASUN tournament. So nice effort by Blaise there in a critical game to get him into that final spot.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah. And then you got Landon Babasiak, who is not sure where we're going to see him being playing next year, but he is the Indiana native that played 12 games last season. And then he had 15 total in his 2 years here with Stetson. 6'10 forward, grabbed 19 rebounds, but only saw limited action. As I mentioned, we're not sure where he's going to go play next year. If you know, let us know down in the comments below. But yeah, as we've seen here, it's a lot of size and skill that Stetson has lost this offseason, so they need to do a good job of regrouping.
That's right.
And rebuilding, and they got off to a good start with this first guy here.
Absolutely. Ethan Copeland. He's a 6'2" guard, Salt Lake Community College, JUCO College. At Salt Lake, he averaged 15.5 points per game, 38% shooting 3. He'll shoot 3 from anywhere, by the way. You might find that to be a theme with this recruiting class that guy coming in. We'll just throw that out there right now. It's a little big teaser. Last year, 33-point season high. He dropped 8 threes in that contest. So here's the thing, though. He averaged 4.5 points a game, 2 assists, nearly 2 steals a game. A guy that can kind of contribute all over the place in many ways. He's really good two-man game. When I watched his film, I really liked how he handled not only with the ball, but off ball to create openings for himself. Really good timing on using screens well. And again, back to the defensive end, he did have a 6 steal game last season as well. That's the season as well. Committed to defense. I think that was one of the areas that Stetson kind of struggled with last year, aside from the rebounding we mentioned.
Yeah, now they've got a 3-and-D guard that's going to step up and may possibly play next to Phillips.
Yeah.
Because I imagine they're going to – Phillips is back, so I imagine they're going to want to continue his development and turn him into the player that we kind of all expect him to turn into.
Right.
So, yeah, being able to have a guard who can handle the defensive side of things. Maybe when Phillips needs to focus more on the offensive side of things. And Copeland could shoot the freaking lights out.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to seeing how they're going to mesh and where these guys kind of all place out in the lineup.
Yep.
Now, another guy who we actually talked about this guy already. So if you want to go check out that video, you can see a more in-depth breakdown on him. But Matar Chiop, and I said this before, I'll say it again. Yes, that is correct. It is pronounced Chiop. So he played last year at Loyola Marymount. He's a 6'10 junior forward from Senegal. That might be why his name is pronounced the way that it is.
Right.
Had just under 2 points per game and just over 2 rebounds per game. Did make 59% of his field goals in his 17 games that he played with the Lions last season. Season highlight, 7.4 rebound game against Southern U in December. Also played 19 games at Nebraska in 23-24. So coming from a more blue chip organization, seems to have worked his way, down through. Obviously went to the West Coast the next year, and then now he's in the ASUN here. I guess my assumption would be just looking for a place where he can have a permanent role in the lineup each night.
Right.
I expect that to happen here in Stetson, and if you want to know why, you can go check out the other video where we break down his skill set. But yeah, a good big ad here for the Hatters.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, be a good energy guy.
Yes.
I see. Yep. Let's move on. I'm excited about their class. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. But I am. We'll move on. Jake Johnson, 6'5". He'll be a senior. He played 3 years, his previous 3 years at Indiana University East, NAIA school. Started 81 of his 82 games played. 17.4 point average there. 43%. How about this? 42% from behind the arc. 46% overall in the shooting. Another guy that's got nice balance from a statistical perspective. 5.6 rebounds, almost 2.5 assists, and over a steal per game in his career there at IUE. He had a 35-point game last year, so he can really light it up, right? I didn't see a lot of film on him, but the stats say a lot there.
Right.
About what he can bring. Another, I think, a good, and it's being 6'5", a guy that can defend. At least on paper, I think he's got the capability.
Oh, right,
as well.
and he's got the versatility of that size to play multiple different positions too.
Yep.
I think this team is going to require him to maybe kind of play the 3 or the 4 more.
Yeah.
Compared to maybe playing the 2, like maybe he's used to.
Right.
And then you got Colin Cole coming from Georgia Southern. So Georgia Southern continues to bring people to the ASUN. The 6'8" junior forward played the past 2 seasons there in the Sun Belt. 57 games played, had 2.5 point averages, 3 rebounds, and shot 54% from the floor. Again, another guy we're seeing with a very high floor shooting percentage.
Right.
Looks like they were specifically targeting something this offseason. Last season, he had an equal number of offensive and defensive rebounds, so contributes on both sides. Also had a 6.8 rebound performance in an 8-point victory over Louisiana Monroe. His father, Jim, also played basketball here at Stetson, so the Cole name you might recognize,
right.
And that is why.
Yeah, I love the stat, the equal number of offensive and defensive rebounds. As a rebounding guy myself, or focused, I just love that.
So claimed.
Tenaciousness from that.
A guy who you definitely love rebounds. I'll put it that way.
Exactly right. Right. Another big they've added to the lineup. Janusz Ratowski played last season at Texas A&M in the SEC. 6'10" forward. He was redshirted while he was at A&M actually. A&M from Poland originally, or natively. 2 years at in Poland. He played on the U20 national team in 2024.
Right.
Averaged 9.6 points, 9.4 rebounds 2 seasons ago. What I watched on his film, there's some out there. Very athletic guy. He can run the floor. He can step out and hit threes. He might be a good matchup for the high screen isolation play.
Well, don't give away too much. We talked about this guy already.
We did. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair. Right.
So if you want to learn more about him, go check out that video there.
That's right. Speaking of which,
yes, another guy we talked about, and this is a guy that I think is the key. Like, if you're talking about blue chip coming in this year, I think this is a guy. Kelvin Bobo Sermons comes in from Kaiser University. I don't want to give it away too much. Only 5'8", doesn't play like it though.
No.
Brings elite play, defensive prowess at 5'8".
Yeah.
Hard working. I'm not going to give away his stats here. You can go check them out in our other video if you want to watch those. Well, once again, we'll leave the link down in the description for you to do that. But I'm very excited about Sermons.
Oh yeah, me too. Very much so.
What'd you say when we first introduced him in our last episode? You said it's Bobo time.
It's Bobo time. Yeah,
it is.
Exactly. It is. It's almost here. We're 90 some days away from the season. It's Bobo time. Let's go. All right. Well, now let's talk about the freshmen. That was a great recruiting class of transfers in. Stetson also added some players of significance coming in as freshmen. First season in college basketball. We'll start with Atlanta's J.R. Leonard, pardon me, scored 2,000 points in his high school career in Atlanta, won a state title in 2024, his junior season. He's a 3-level scorer. I see another 2-man game, isolation game that he can really deliver there. Strong body. He's going to be a beast, what I see.
Yeah.
Just another couple other stats. Regional Player of the Year scored 31.9 points per game his senior season at Riverwood.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, you watch his game; he was dominant, and I'll talk a little bit more about him later. Did you have another stat that you wanted to throw out about him?
It. Yep.
All right, cool. So I want to talk about him in our team breakdown.
Yes.
But let's move into Miller McGowan. So the 6'2" combo guard is from Atlanta Classical Academy. He averaged 30.2 points, 5.4 rebounds, over 3 assists, and 3.7 steals per game. He was the GA coach's in All-Star game. He was a participant in that. Also a Region 7A Division II Player of the Year last season. Over 2,300 career points for this guy. NBA range, 3-level scorer, strong driver, plays with a lot of force.
Yeah.
He's going to be special for Stetson. I don't know if it'll be this year or years coming in the future, but just because I don't know who's going to, get priority and getting a spot in the lineup, but he will at some point.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah. Yep. I think the third freshman coming in, Sean Morgan, 6'2" guard from Huntsville, Alabama. I think he's under the radar a little bit in terms of the other two, but freshman, that is.
Might be the best 3-point shooter.
But he might be the best. He can shoot it from everywhere. Like we said that already about multiple players. He really can. Yeah. His stats last year, so he played at overtime elite. I think it was an overage year, a gap year after high school completion, right? What I saw.
That is common for those guys that go play OTE.
Exactly, right. Almost 6 points per game, 2 assists, 2.5 rebounds. So his stats don't light up. I've watched him a lot of film playing in scouting tournaments and stuff like that. Everybody. He's jumping off the page for everybody. So I maybe he's that late bloomer, kind of again underachiever that's kind of finding his game right now.
Oh, I like that. That's a good take on him.
Yeah.
So speaking of takes, let's take to our overall kind of ideas of what we got for this team. So for me,
of the recruiting class coming in, what's net difference of in and out? That's what these
exactly.
Episodes are about.
For me, obviously, lots of in, lots of out, and similar to Austin P. That's what scares me about the team. I think the talent that they brought in is fantastic.
Yeah.
The meshing is what I need to know about.
Sure.
But that being said, so as far as putting a prediction for where they're going to finish, I'm just going to say middle of the pack.
Okay.
For right now. That's where I'm going to put all the teams where I'm not really sure about for right now.
Yep.
But great class. I think it's really strong. Sermon's going to affect the game in multiple different ways in any way he can. couple different styles of bigs in Rakowski versus Chiop here. And then you got Leonard, who, this is what I wanted to talk about with him. He plays so calm and collected when out there. He never panics.
Right.
He doesn't look like he's the fastest or the strongest out there, but it's the way that he just, like his tempo that he plays with. And another thing I loved about him, if he, and this was a highlight package, I did see some game film on him where I saw this too, but in the highlights in the game film I saw of him, if he missed a shot, he's immediately on the offensive rebound and he puts it in for a putback.
Absolutely.
And for me, that speaks volumes as far as the type of competitor he is as well. And that's why I say he plays calm. He doesn't panic when he misses a shot. He, instead of panicking and trying to get back right away, he attacks and creates another opportunity. Then you got Copeland, Johnson, McGowan, Morgan, all going to contribute from beyond the arc or just on the floor in shooting manners. Right. So they got a lot of weapons. It's going to be interesting to see how it kind of all aligns.
Yeah, and not by style of play. I don't mean it in this context, but from a pace perspective, the lineup they have here, they can push pace like North Florida did last year, in my opinion. I like to see that. I think really puts them up tempo. They got a lot of athletes. I think they're going to be a deeper team offensively too. So they really can challenge from a pace perspective of a tempo play. Right. Not necessarily, like I said, we know North Florida was just a lot of 3-point shots, crank them up as much as you can. That's not what I'm talking about here. Not that they can't.
They have the ability to do that, but they don't need to.
And again, with Bobo's running the floor largely, I mean, there's going to be others too, but for him contributing his energy to that part of it too.
Right.
They're going to go.
Right.
On the defensive end, I just want to point out, we mentioned the rebounding scenario. Last year, Stetson was the worst at defense or at rebounding differential. I don't know if they've solved that necessarily. Mm-hmm. From an offensive energy, yes, but we need to see that coach is enforcing that, right? That mentality. We can't get out rebounded as bad as we did last year.
I think Donnie's going to do that. Donnie's a very capable coach, and I think he's obviously a very good motivator as well. You see all the, I don't know if you follow him on Twitter at all.
Oh, yeah,
Instagram,
great.
But,
yeah, very much so.
Not you. I was talking to them out there.
Oh, them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're here too.
Right.
But no. So he's obviously very motivational and inspiring. So if he can kind of get that mindset, as you're talking about, compete for every ball. Right. And with guys like Leonard, who already does that. Yep. I think they're starting to build to get in that way. Maybe they recognize the issue that they had last year and are trying to solve it in little ways.
Yep, and I think even from that perspective too, they could take some away by again playing with pace on the defensive end, really pushing for bad shots. That'll help. That makes rebounding easier when you force the team your opponent into some crazy stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, I think Bobo's going to have a big part of doing that.
Yep.
Let's move into the Jacksonville Dolphins now. So, another team that's really losing a lot. Starting off with the exhausted eligibility guys. You got Kendall Munson. So, he made his 1 seasons with the Dolphins his career best, following 2 years that he spent with Pepperdine and also 2 years with Portland State. So, over in the West Coast again. 9.4 points, 5.3 rebound averages in 33 games, which included 19 starts. Then he averaged 14 points per game in his last 10 games this season. Really came, a guy like, we talked about Thompson for Stetson. Yeah. Munson really came along in a key time for Jacksonville as well. And the same guy we're going to talk about next year did just that too. Yeah. Filled shoes when Stephon Payne went down with the injury there. And Stephon is now moved on. We'll get into him when we get into the transfers out. Season high 23 points. In a win, actually, against Stetson in February. Had a lone double-double, 22 points, 11 rebounds against North Florida once again in February. Yeah. So, guys played some great basketball to round out at least his college career. And certainly hope he's getting a pro spot somewhere if he hasn't already, because he definitely earned it.
Should get some looks. Exactly. Yep. Next up, another exhausted Zimi Wokeji. Played 4 seasons at Dayton. And then last year at Jacksonville, career high he had his career highs for game averages, 8.6 points and 4 rebounds with the Dolphins. Really kind of found his way here in his plus season. He signed to play in Rotterdam City in Netherlands as a pro.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
He earned it as well. He really came on
really
in the second half of the season last year as well, I thought.
Exactly. Actually, and he had a 29. I want to mention the 29-point game with Dayton in 2021. That was his career high. He had 29.
Oh, nice.
Game back then, yeah. Here's a last tidbit about a little nugget for Zimi. Was he learning to play the ukulele? Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's a fun. I've only messed around a little bit on the ukulele that I got, but it's a very fun instrument. And it's pretty simple to play because there's only it depends on how many strings you got. But yeah, there's a very limited amount of strings compared to a full guitar and frets to play as well. Exactly, so it's pretty. Not I don't want to say easy to pick up, but it's not nearly as difficult as others, and it makes some great noises.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Now. We got Jakari Spence. So he played 3 seasons in Monmouth prior to joining the Dolphins last year for his final year. He had a career best 8.4 points, 4 and 4 rebounds and assists per game. Started all 32 games as well that he played for the Dolphins this past year. 12 double-digit point games, and had 9 rebounds and 9 assist games as well. He also signed to play for Rotterdam City.
Right.
So we got, basically, it's just the Rotterdam Dolphins over there. But, no, another guy that earned it really, because we got to remember, I can't remember what month it was. I think it was the month of February and maybe late January. But, Jacksonville was the team I thought was going to be the team to beat.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, losing Payne was
a big loss.
Big loss there. But, yeah, this team completely has earned all the placement. All the guys that have left have earned their new spots.
Yeah, exactly. Again, three that we talked about so far all have had their career year from a college perspective at Jacksonville.
Well, it was do or die. It was go home. He had to go all out this past season.
Speaking of which, so now we'll get into the players who've transferred out.
This guy goes out all the time.
You think? Yeah. Robert McCray. Sad to see him leave, but we get it, of course. He's moving to Florida State in the ACC. He had a 14-game freshman season at Wake Forest, and he just flourished the last 2 years at Jacksonville. 17.3 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.7 assists. He made 46% of his shots. He did it all for Jacksonville when he was on the floor. He had a career-high 36 versus Stetson. It was a loss. It was just 2 years ago in the conference tournament, but he had 36. 2 career double-doubles. I thought that was a very odd stat for Robert because he's just energy, go, go, go. He only had 2 career double-doubles.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
So here's the thing about McCray, too. He was a big piece of why they won against when it was 2 years ago when EKU was the number 1 seed. They had Cozart on their team, and he was just dominating all year. And McCray just got to the line. I think he took 17, or maybe it was the team, took 17 more free throws than EKU did or something like that. But him and one other guy got to the line and just made pretty much everything. I think McCray only missed one of his ridiculous amount of, it was in the double digits from when he was at the line.
He does shoot free throws.
And that's kind of my point here. You say 46% field goals, which is really good. I'm expecting to be higher next year in the ACC.
Yeah.
As he doesn't have to take as many shots as he did with Jacksonville because he can be the centerpiece of your organization, but he doesn't have to be either, and he will contribute very. I expect him to be in the pros in the next couple of years.
Yeah, definitely.
At least the G League.
I like it.
Then we got Zach Bell, who's going to Southern Utah. Started all but 1 game last year. His 2-year averages with the team, 7.7 points, very, very serviceable number, 2.5 rebounds, 33% from 3. He also had 16 double-digit scoring games, season high, 19 at West Georgia, going 5 from 7 from deep. So another 3-point piece that they are losing, and unfortunately for them, it's seemingly going to continue as we continue on in these guys that are transferring out here.
Yep, exactly. A little different player, though, Stephon Payne. We talked about him a little bit there. Will be going to Seton Hall next year as a senior. He's averaged, so we'll start with this. He averaged 1 block per game in 3 years. One incarnate word, the last 2 at Jacksonville. That's one element of the game that he brings very much a force inside defensively. 8.4 points, 6.3 rebounds, 53% shooting in 22 minutes last season. He had a heck of a year. It really bummed me out when he got hurt. Career high game, 20 points last year versus Bellarmine in February when he came back. He oozed what Coach Mincy was preaching in terms of if you want to be hard to play against, this is the guy. He really did.
Yeah, he contributed in multiple different ways on the floor, and that's what led to him being such a highly recruited prospect, because we mentioned Seton Hall. He wasn't just getting looks from Seton Hall. He got like 13 different schools that were coming knocking at his door trying to get him to come to their organization, including, I remember, Indiana was one of them.
Okay.
And that's no slouch of an organization. Obviously, we saw Indiana took a lot of guys from North Florida this past year.
Exactly.
So Stephon Payne was highly recruited this year in the transfer portal for a reason. Jacksonville was a weird team, too, because I felt like they had 8 guys that could be in their starting 5 last year.
Sure. For sure.
And he was just one of those guys that was consistently fighting to be in and out of it. Yep. And well-deserved for him to go to Seton Hall here. Another local product, 3-point person that they are losing is Kent Jackson. So we actually already talked about Kent in our North Florida off-season breakdown. I'll just give a little bit of a breakdown for him here. Shoots a majority of his shots from the 3 area.
Right.
So going to be a very good piece as to what North Florida likes to do, or at least what Coach Driscoll liked to do with North Florida. We'll see what Coach Bobby ends up doing. But obviously a big 3-point loss for this team, which is going to need 3-point shooters if they want to contribute next year.
That's right. Exactly. Moving on to Marcus Niblack, guard, played 2 seasons for Jacksonville. In 23-24, he started in 14 games out of 26. Did not see any action last season whatsoever, though. So when he did play, though, 10.2 average, almost 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.3 steals in 2 seasons ago. So nice contributor, including a 29-point game against Louisiana Monroe in December of 23. He'll be going to Canisius College next season. So, again, maybe we'll call it the fresh start. We say that often.
Yeah.
But
quite a change of setting, too. But I remember touring that campus, and I could see if that's what made him fall in love with it. Like, I could see why, because it is a really nice campus.
It's very nice, exactly, in downtown Buffalo.
Yep.
Go Sabres.
Yes, Marcus, you also have to become a Sabres fan as well. Then you got Maximus Fuentes. So the 6'3 guard from Miami played in 5 games last season for the Dolphins as a junior. He also previously suited up for Drexel for 2 seasons, seeing once again limited game action there. Just announced yesterday. Not yesterday, actually. This was 2 days ago now. Was it 2 days ago? I feel like this is a while ago.
It was a couple days ago.
Whatever it was. But anyways, where he's going. So he's going to be going to Division II, Trinity College of Jacksonville. Right. So he's going to be staying local.
Yep.
And who knows? Maybe he develops down there, comes back up. I don't know how much, because I think he might have an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
So.
Yep. Exactly.
But we've talked about the guys transferring out, and similar to Stetson, a very big class here of guys that are moving out. Who are they bringing in to re-bolster this and try to attack it again this upcoming season?
Right. And we know they will. They are going to attack it, right?
Yes.
So we'll start with Charles Caparazzo, a 7-foot center. Played 2 years at JUCO Coffeyville College. 5.3 point average for just over 4 rebounds per game. He had 6 10-point games, including a season-high 17 in November. So, this will be his junior year coming up, or third year of college basketball. He added 30 pounds of mass between his freshman and sophomore seasons. And if you look at his stats between the 2 seasons, he really started to... It shows, right? That 30 pounds of weight showed in terms of his presence on the court.
one thing that I want to mention is that, so similar to Asjun Anderson for Queens, because remember how he had a lot of production in a small amount of time?
Yep.
It's like 11.7 minutes, 5 points per game or something like that. That 5.3 and 4 rebound performance or averages that he had was in 12.2 minutes.
Jeez, I didn't catch that. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So Caporaso, I think the reason for that is because he doesn't have much basketball experience. Because when I was looking online for his highlights, baseball highlights were coming up.
Oh.
Swimming highlights were coming up. So I don't know if he was a swimmer or not.
Right.
I didn't check that one out. He posted himself on his own YouTube his baseball highlights.
Gotcha.
Because that was kind of his whole pitch, was that he was a really tall pitcher.
Okay.
But
That was his pitch.
that's but regardless, that I think is why he didn't play much last year, because I didn't see any highlights from high school for his
Okay.
basketball game. I
Interesting.
saw his freshman year highlights,
Right.
and he's shifty.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
shifty
yeah.
for
Right.
6'7".
Exactly.
He's nimble.
Right. No, he's 7 foot.
Or I'm sorry, 6'7". I think he was 6'7" in high school.
Oh, maybe
for
it's
7
right,
foot.
right.
Yeah, he's very nimble.
Right.
Speaking of nimble as
Yes.
well, another guy, Jalen Jones. So this is in a different way. He's got lift. So he's coming over from Oakland, where he played last season, then also played at Tennessee State his freshman year, had 9.2 points, 37% from 3. The 3-point percentage fell last year at Oakland. He went there, apparently a large part of why he went there was his brother.
Right.
27% from 3 last year. Maybe just the organizational fit wasn't there, or the style, or something like that. Or maybe I don't know, something went wrong. But he did drop a season high 16 against Detroit Mercy in February. And he also had a 9 rebound game and an 8 assist game. So he can pop off
Right.
for a lot. And that's kind of what his whole thing was when he was coming into Oakland last year. He was supposed to be a pure point guard, but also has the ability to shoot. And one thing I really like about Jones, when I watched I didn't see many from his college highlights, but his high school highlights, he's got lift. Like, there were times where I thought he was very similar to Tyler Jackson, who's heading to EKU this year, their highest ever recruited prospect. Even sometimes, too, when he was going up for dunks, I saw John Morant out of him. Not that like as skilled as that. That's quite the comparison to compare him to John Morant, but just the lift off and the commanding presence that he had out on the floor.
Awesome.
That's what I saw from Jones.
Fun. I like that a lot.
Then we got a guy we already talked about coming up next year.
Right.
Tell us about him.
Chris Lockett Jr. Yeah. So former Louisiana Mr. Basketball in high school, right? State Player of the Year. Redshirted his freshman year at Boise State and played last year. Had some success, and then he just tailed off in middle of the year. So, coming in again to a new environment, I think he's got plenty of opportunity here to shoot. He's a shooter, right? He's known to be a shooter. Let's see if he can fill that gap of some of the players that left and fill that outside hole there.
Well, and so go check out our other video if you want to see my player comp for him. But I compared him to a player that's leaving from Jacksonville this last year. Like, the game style to me was very similar. So go check out. You can obviously take a guess down below on who you think that player comp is, and go check out that video. We'll leave the link in the description. Another guy we already talked about, so we won't bring up too much about him in this video, but Alan Udamadu, the 6'10" graduate forward, is coming over after playing with Morgan State and Missouri State. Averaged 5.1 points, 4.4 rebounds in those past 2 seasons. Also was a Defensive Player of the Week winner. And for me, he's a much different style player to Caporaso. But once again, like you saw it with Stetson, they kind of bring in 2 different styled bigs.
Right.
Same thing again here for Jacksonville, and I think that's a really smart way to play it, is so that way you can get a little bit more of something versus another guy when he's out on the floor. If you need to change a pace at your big spot, you can do that now.
Right. Yeah, I see him being more into, we'll talk about it more in the breakdown here, but more of the Munson Payne mold type of player. Whereas
Does a little bit of
a
everything.
lot more active, right, exactly. A little bit of everything, right, exactly. So, anyways, we'll break that down. So let's talk about that. That was all for the right. That was it for the
transfers
in. Jacksonville also added 3 freshmen. Nice freshman class here. We'll start with Michael M.J. Harper. Played at Process Basketball Academy. He was part of their first ever graduating class. So, props to them for putting a program together. 6'3" shooting guard. I read the stat like 4 times. 51 points in a game last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's right. Best we could.
They put it on their Facebook. It better be right.
Yeah. He's just a lethal 3-point scorer. He can do it all with the ball in his hands. That's what I saw out of him. Patient also with. He doesn't force stuff. If he gets double teams, he backs off. He'll pull up. He might find a pitch out if he's early in the lane, whatever it might be. He just could score. I didn't see a whole lot of playmaking, like, really drawing a double team, dunking it, dropping it underneath, or setting up something off of screen and roll. I didn't see a lot of that action. It was a lot of just one-on-one. I'm just going to beat you.
Right. He seemed to like to fight through contact in the film that I saw from him.
Exactly.
Then another guy, and also as well, I kept getting video for Dylan Harper showing up when I was looking up MJ.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. Dylan Harper's got drafted this past year. But, MJ's a very solid player. And I think all 3 of these guys are guys that are going to be solid contributors, at least from a uplifting. As I said, kind of same thing with Stetson. Like, I don't know where these freshmen are going to lie in pecking order.
Right.
But I expect the practices to be ultra competitive. Evan Sterick is another guy that's going to contribute to that. So a 6'2" playmaking point guard. Although I did see him contribute plenty in the shooting department as well.
Okay.
Definitely more from 3 than inside, I would say, in the video that I saw of him.
Same.
Strong defender, strong basketball IQ, is well over 1,000 high school points. So Sterick's another guy that I expect to come in, really emphasize those practices, and make this team even better.
He can contribute. I think you'll see some action from him, some significant action from him his freshman year. For
right.
Sure. Yep. Let's talk about the third one, Hayden Wood. Arkansas. Hey, what are you doing, Central Arkansas? You let one get out of the state. Hayden Wood from Arkansas. He committed in October. 6'4" shooting guard. How about these high school numbers? Western Conference Championship in 2024. All-State, All-West defensive team last season. So here's another player that can do it all, not just offensive player with his defensive stats. Played club ball at Off2U of the Pro 16 League last year. Solid dribble driver. It's just like rinse, repeat here. Host of moves, good scoring IQ, can kind of contribute in a lot of different ways. A different type of player, more of a slasher maybe, if you will. But real smart player, what I saw.
Well, and from what I didn't get to see much of Hayden Wood. But in what I saw, like when you say he's got that dog in him, like that, that saying.
Yes.
Hayden Wood has that.
I agree.
Like it is, he hustles. He kind of like, you can see it even on his facial expression when he's playing the basketball. He's like, I'm going to dominate you and I'm going to get past you.
Yep.
Like nothing's going to stop me from scoring.
He's sneaky fast, sneaky strong, sneaky competitive. Is what it looks like to me.
Yes, right? Exactly. That encapsulates Wood perfectly from what I saw from his game.
Yep.
Let's move into team breakdowns. Let's start with you for this one.
All right. So, I want to sigh again. I mean, the Dolphins lost 83% of their scoring, 75% of the rebounding, but bigger than that, to me, they lost identity. That team last year oozed tough to play against. We're going to just bash you in the mouth. And you better be ready for it because we're not going to stop. Yeah. That's what left this team last year. Great program build that Coach Mincy put together last year. So that's the big thing I thought that left the team.
The culture
part of it, right? So how do they replace that? And again, I think Coach Mincy's a great coach. I think he'll continue to drive that, but he's got to recreate it from start, right? That's really what I see.
Yeah. I see that. Well, they were one of the best rebounding teams in the entire league last year, by far.
Yes. Exactly.
And having so many bigs available to them is part of why that happened.
That's right.
Now, this year, obviously, it's a retooling year similar to Stetson. I see the makeups of these teams, though, to be very similar.
Oh, it is. Yes. Agreed.
And I think the only thing that worries me with Jacksonville a little bit is you got guys like Jones and Lockett who need to have a comeback season.
Yep. Exactly.
In order to consider it to be a success, because I think they're banking a lot on those guys.
I think those two specifically, right? You make great point. Would have maybe have been better served. We haven't even seen them play yet, so this is definitely projection. With having that deep, strong culture already established, and to fit into that, as opposed to starting the culture from with what left the team this year.
Right. Well, and it could be as well, because we don't know this, obviously, not being right in the room with the guys as they're recruiting. But that could be why he brought all these guys in, is because they already fit that mindset and mold. So that's just an unknown, but it's a great question to bring up, is because you're absolutely right. The culture of Jacksonville is what left this past season, off season, and now to reestablish that and get that going again. I'm gonna give it the same prediction. I got a middle of the road prediction for these guys right now. I don't, and it's mainly just because I don't know.
Right.
I'm not. I like the pieces that are brought in. I just need them to mesh.
Right.
And that's the big question, I think, for a lot of these teams. I think it's similar for P. Lipscomb a little bit, although I think Carroll's kind of already got a good start is at getting that program established and off and running and knowing what the mission is. Especially from what we talked about him, you can go check out our interview with him as well. We'll leave a link in that in the description. Same thing with Stetson. And then I think the two that really stood out to me as maybe being early favorites is EKU and Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah,
for me.
I haven't broken them down that way. In terms of.
I'm just trying to think like mentally from what we've been talking about in the past few weeks.
That's fair.
Those are kind of the two teams that I think stick out to me as the favorites right now.
Right.
But then again, I had Stetson as a favorite last year. During that was different. That was an off season. That was as we were getting going into the season here. I had Stetson in the second spot. Obviously, that's not where they finished last year. But no, I want to see more first before I make a hard prediction. I want to see what they do overseas first.
Right.
Before
MJ Harper, I think he's the real deal. I think.
Yeah.
I like him filling. He's not going to fill Robert McCray's role in terms of stats and ball hit, but I think he's got the same player mentality. Right, to your point earlier, he brought in players that could do it. Udamadu to me is that big, that active big. I'm really excited to see him play at this level, at this program level. To me, he's got a lot of moves inside, patient with the ball, can step out. Hopefully, he can be very intimidated defensively and bring that element.
Right.
My gut is he's their leader from hey, we're gonna bring it right now.
Well, and that's the thing too, actually, that you talk about. I didn't see with Udamadu. He's gonna have to be the big contributor from outside, because Caparazzo's not going to do it at all. From what I saw from Caparazzo's stats, I don't believe he took a 3-pointer.
Right.
At least last year. So yeah, you're gonna have to find a way to generate three. That could be an issue for this team too.
Right.
Is if
Agreed.
they're not able to stretch the ball.
Right.
That's the big question but I think the pace that they play with, kind of like what you were talking about with pushing the pace.
Yeah.
They have the guys that are able to do that, especially with Jones. As I said, Jones
will.
Electrifies. Yeah. He is lightning speed.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, really big question marks, especially for Jacksonville here. But I think they're definitely workable pieces that can contribute to a winning team right away this year.
Yeah, they'll be tough to play against for sure.
Right. Yes. So that's going to do it for our episode number 9 of Season 3. You've been watching the Accurate Basketball Podcast. Let us know what you think down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share the word with your friends. And until next time, see ya.